Hello everybody, welcome in. My name is Josh, it's the Gaming Joy channel, and we are getting ready to get going on our survival skills challenge. Now, it is definitely a slow start, and that's kind of part of the course. That's kind of what we're doing. It's designed to be a slow start. It's designed to be, you got to work your way up. That's just kind of how it runs. But I'm enjoying it to a degree. So what are we doing? We are in the game and we are cultivating. Now we don't own this field. This is the biggest field on the map. If we remember, it's this field. And as you can see, I've cultivated quite a bit of it already. I did it off stream. It was a large, whoops, totally losing my line here. It was a large contract and it was worth a lot of money. We'll look at that in just a second, but I want to say hi to everyone who's here. Welcome in to Model Houseman, Ken Stoder, Jack Sarge, 5Gen. Welcome in everybody. Thanks for being here. And thanks for coming along for this, I don't know, crazy journey, I guess. We're just gonna keep kind of slowly building up the money we got and the things we can do. As you can see, I'm cultivating now. I went in and created a test map to test a bunch of different cultivators, because everyone knows that there's 1,000,001 3-meter cultivators in this game. But I don't want to. I mean, this map has giant fields, right? Absolutely giant, and I don't want to have to do 3-meter cultivating on fields that are that big. That doesn't make sense. Even 5-meter cultivating would just take forever. And so I went through Mod Hub, I went through King Mods, and I found this little beast. I actually have a bunch of cultivators near. We got a bunch of them installed. I tried them all out. Whoops. We have this Harrow one. This one's probably one of the better ones. It's only 5 meters, but it's probably one of the better ones. It's pretty good. Hey, Bruce, welcome in. Apparently, this roller is also a cultivator. It looks more like a mulcher to me, but yeah, it's only 4 meters, so it's not that big enough. And then this is the other one that a lot of people use. This one right here. This is the PBOX1, which is also 5 meters. It would actually be able to be towed by this machine, but at a good speed, no less, but it's still 5 meters. Then there's this one, which this machine can't tow. It's too much drag, too much of a device, and and all I'm doing is doing contracts. I don't really care about it being legit. And then I found this thing. This is like a Russian monster, which is essentially two of, do I still have it? This one. It's basically this thing, pretty much, which we can also pull, but this one doesn't fold at all. So you can't drive down the streets with it. But then we found this one, and I didn't change anything. This is the way it comes with this really awesome colors. And I tested it out, and this little 100 horsepower tractor can actually pull it. And it does deliver on the contract, which is pretty cool. So we got our contract here. And field 1 cultivating, $71,000 to cultivate this field. Yeah, and so I've done a bit of it, and I still have to go to the rest. It does struggle on the fields, but it's some way I'm buying for the future. Once I can go to like 150 horsepower, we'll be able to cruise through these fields with no problem whatsoever. So yeah, the question Ken just asked is, we're still at 100 horsepower. We haven't upgraded, so we have to make it through our first year before we can upgrade our horsepower, or we need to run this thing dry. And I think I actually did run it dry from our mowing and whatever settings. So technically we have run it dry once, which means we could potentially go up to 125 horsepower. But this tractor's limit is 100, and we don't have money to buy a new tractor. But should we choose to buy a new one, we could potentially go to 125. So that's not a big deal. We could go up if we wanted to, but I'm actually gonna hold off. We got some other things we want to get done, other than buying just a little bit of a bigger tractor. Once you get into that like 150 to 200 range, things start to really get spicy. And I think that's where we want to set our sights for. Right now, I just got to finish this field. 91%. We're almost there. So yeah, one of the qualifications, Bruce, that we added to this challenge is for every tractor that you own, if you run it dry once, you can only do it once. It's like a per tractor thing. You can gain a cumulative 25 horsepower bonus to the overall size of tractor you can get. So initially, your first year, you're limited to 100 horsepower. And then we're going to up that limit just by 25 because we actually use this tractor so much that we ran it dry. In all honesty, we have the fuel usage on high, so running it dry isn't that hard because it's our only tractor and it's all we're using right now. But we're not planning on buying anything else in the near future just because, well, we don't really have a need for it, honestly. We would eventually like to get a truck, get something we can move things around with, get a harvester. But again, if we're stuck with those horsepower limits, we're going to be limited to what we can get at 100 horsepower. So we're going to wait till we can get it up to the next one. The fuel rate is obviously I'm setting it high because I did a survival start, but you could potentially do anything you want, any settings you want. I mean, it's up to you. Some of those settings are actually going to make it easier. Some of it are going to make it harder. And hypothetically, if I as I build this mod around it, I could see what your settings are and know that running it dry on hard is going to be much easier than running it dry on easy, or low fuel rate versus high fuel rate. So we can probably have a sliding scale. Like if you're on high fuel rate, you have to run it dry more than once. But we'll just leave it alone for now. I did get a little bit more into the development of the mod. I'm still working on trying to convert my mind, right? I build web pages for a living, web applications. And so I'm trying to roll my mind into how to do the same things that I can do with HTML, but do it in Giants' weird GUI XML thing, which isn't the same. So I'm struggling a little bit to learn that stuff. A USB port in my ear. Wouldn't that be great? Or like Neo from Matrix, where you can, I just learned Kung Fu. That would be handy. Exactly. But that's it. We're going to finish off this contract. I actually already did most of it, so it shouldn't be too long. Maybe take us another 10-15 minutes. And then we can get over to our grass field and finish picking up all that grass. Now, we actually did start to pick up the grass. We have about half of it or so picked up so far. Which is actually going to put us towards our first skill that we're upgrading. And I think if I remember correctly, I have to look at my notes. But I think our first upgrade is going to be grass work, right? And for grass work, you can't use balers. You can't use stuff like fast bale right away. That's too hard. So you do have to actually pick up and ferment a certain amount of grass before, with just a regular loading wagon, before you can actually move on to bales. And bales obviously it just takes more time with the loading wagon. Yeah, Jack, that Unimog, I personally love the Unimog. I think, if I remember correctly, 4 different Unimogs on my machine across multiple saves. And they're all a little bit different. Is it 3 or 4? I think actually it might only be 3. I have the U400, the 16, the 12, 14, 1600, and the 5000 series. The 5000 series is the one that's a lot of fun. Because that thing's a much bigger machine and it's a little bit more versatile. But yes, Unimogs are so cool, so versatile, and actually very common in the farming industry, which I think is the cool part for me. Is it's not just farming, it's lots of other industries, but they are actually used in real life. And they have, and it's silly, but they have you can get them with 3-point hitches on them, which is totally normal. You get them with backhoes or front end loader arms. Like, it has all of that stuff. Can't get the Mog to unload Fert and Lime from a spreader, though. Yeah, I actually know why that doesn't work, Jack Sarge. So the reason it won't unload Fert and Lime from a spreader is because a vehicle can only have one unload action. It can't have multiple unload actions. So since the Unimog is set up with a trailer bed, and it has configurations along the line with trailer beds, then it has the unload is for the trailer bed. It's not for anything attached to the 3-point. But due to the way the game works, it kind of causes a conflict, basically, where it doesn't let you unload things that are attached to the trailer. Like on the 3-point hitch, it'll let you unload it as trailer because that's separate, but for some reason the unload action for a Fert or Lime spreader doesn't work with Unimog. I don't know why. Detail is ridiculous. I can't believe I actually did this whole entire field. I was like just watching a movie and doing like running this, and I think I watched the whole movie and then I started watching TV afterwards, like, and I was still going. It's taken quite a while. How's my percentage? 93%. We're getting close. Probably another 4 or 5 passes. We probably won't have to finish it, but we're gonna have to get close, pretty close. Ken asks a great question. Color choice. Now, you guys know my preference. But in case anyone here is new and don't, my preference is almost always black. Whatever it is, I want to have the black edition version of whatever it is. And if there isn't one existing, I usually make it myself. And the other thing that I will typically do whenever I do a series or a playthrough or a save game is I like to play with brand themes, like as if I'm sponsored by whatever brand it is. And then I stick within that brand as much as possible, sometimes with just tractors, sometimes with tractors and equipment, sometimes not. I've done everything. Like my first series that I did, I was the very first thing I ever streamed was on Erlingrat, and all my equipment was Deutzfahr, and I was just using the Deutzfahr stuff. It was some of the first mods I ever made. And then when I went to Old Stream Farm, and then of course we moved from Old Stream Farm to Calmston, we had a Fendt farm, and it was all Fendt equipment. Everything was Fendt colored, and whenever I could change the color of the trailers or equipment that I was using, I'd change it to Fendt colors as well. And then of course my last series was Kloss, and everything I changed to Kloss colors, and that's just kind of how I like to play. This series is going to be New Holland. There's a significant number of pretty good New Holland machines, many of them like with a South American flair to them. The two big brands you'll see that I see a lot of on ModHub that have South American or Brazilian versions is New Holland and Valtra. Valtra is the other one. So I actually have a Let's Play playthrough that I'm playing whenever I'm not streaming and not recording, when I just want to play something and not have to like worry about the story that I'm telling or recording. I'm playing on a different South American map, and it's all Valtra equipment, which is different, and it just gives me a chance to use new machinery. That's right. Stara is oil. But there isn't very much Star on Mod Hub. There's only a couple. And so I would be very limited in the machinery that I could use. If I pick New Holland or Valtra, there's a significant amount of equipment. Star, there's like, what, 2 or 3 tractors? Not enough from my perspective. But yeah, that's what I like to do. I like to have a color choice. The color choice is black whenever I can. This time we're going with New Holland and painting things New Holland blue. We're also using other equipment that's kind of local to the region. So we've also got in our mods here, if we look, we've also got the Banderente brand, as well as the Jatco brand, which are going to be kind of contingent to this region and go along with what this map needs. And we'll be using many of those for this work. Yeah, so the one thing about the cover, and this is actually a bug, and this is due to the way people build tractors, right? So the reason sometimes you get a problem with emptying or opening a cover, you can't open a cover or whatever, is that there's only so many design configurations within like building a mod. So you have a tractor that has all kinds of customization, and in many times they use the cover configuration to like put a flag on the window, or not put a flag on the window, but they'll use the cover configuration because, hey, no big deal, tractors don't really have covers, so modders decide to use the cover configuration to do that thing, whatever that thing is. Usually it's a visual change. The downside with that is that in many cases, if you select no for the cover configuration, you actually stop the tractor from being able to open covers of things that are attached, and it causes a conflict. And it's just basically how they're building the mod. It's just, it's a little bit of a conflict. Like, as an example, when we were playing on Calmsden, Connect modding, no. Custom modding built the Fent 1050. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Built the Fent 1050, and they used the what they used. They used the configuration block in the XML for the tension belts to basically change the number on the side of the vehicle, right? And because they used the tension belt specialization to do something that it wasn't even related to a tension belt, it meant that those machines had issues with anything attached to them that had tension belts. And that also flagged the machine as something that had tension belts because it had the specialization, which means that Universal Autoload thought that it was something you could autoload into, and it caused all kinds of problems. And I had to go in and fix that so that I could use that tractor, because that was one of the tractors that I used. So it all depends on how the modder does it and whether the modder decides to work with the rest of the system. And also whether they actually test their mod alongside other mods. And that's kind of, we've talked about that a lot. And I think that many modders could be a little bit better about testing and a little bit better about making sure their stuff works with common other things. Which is kind of the same story with, the DLC that came out recently that I think, from what I've heard, isn't doing so well. Welcome in, Lead Dog. Thank you for dropping in, and thank you for coming in to say hi. Much appreciated, sir. Have I used the Wall-E? I think I saw that somewhere. Isn't the... correct me if I'm wrong. The Wall-E thing was basically... someone basically added some stuff onto the New Holland skid steer so that it looked like Wally, right? Which is pretty smart, honestly. But I haven't used it. It looked funny, and I think that my first thought is if I'm going to use that, it's going to be on Mars. So I'll wait till Lambo gets his Mars map out, and then I'll play it on Mars. I'll play with Wally on Mars. But welcome in. We are finishing like the world's biggest cultivating contract. $71,000 for this cultivating contract. 36 hectares of cultivating at 100 horsepower. Oh, it's an autonomous tractor? Oh, cool. Well, even better. $55 miles an hour. It's not bad. I love how people are starting to create, like they're working with each other, sort of. Everyone's loving the Mars map, so I can see how people would create more autonomous tractors and stuff like that to use on the Mars map. Like that sounds like good collaboration between modders. That sounds like good collaboration. Okay, we're almost done. Come on. 97%. We're almost there. We're actually almost done. But, I mean, you know, we're cultivating 8 meters wide, I think. It's just 8 or 9 meters wide. It's something ridiculous. It's a lot. Where is it? And I bought it too because it wasn't very expensive. 10 meters. So we're cultivating at 10 meters at 100 horsepower. So if it slows down a little bit every once in a while, I'll take that slowdown, considering I'm doing twice as fast as I would with a 5-meter cultivator, which is the only other option. And this one I can tow down the street. Though I'm probably going to leave it up at the shop for now, because I'm only going to use it for contracts. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for being here. We are going to just keep chipping away at this. Jack, I actually saw that someone actually has made placeable railways. That sounds interesting. I don't know how they would actually get that to work, but good luck. Just because the railway, like the configuration from what I remember seeing looking at maps, it's a pretty in-depth configuration that has to be in the map. And so I think if you're going to have some kind of placeable railways, there's going to be a significant amount of scripting needed to add that railways to the map. Oh yeah. A 10-meter harvester for the cotton. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. That cotton field is going to be crazy once we get to it, but I don't think we're getting to it anytime soon. We'll have to buy or lease a harvester just to be able to do that contract. Yeah, a low horsepower solution for cotton would be tough. You know, honestly, I think what you need for a low horsepower solution for cotton is I think you need to go the potato route, right? You need a trailed something like this that you can tow behind a tractor that just rips off the cotton off of the plant and dumps it on the ground. And then you'd need some kind of a windrower to windrow it up, and then you'd need to be able to should be able to use like a grass type baler to bale it up into small cotton bales. So yeah, you could do cotton, but you'd have to use like a 180 cotton baler. And yeah, I think that would be fun. Oh yeah, I know I totally missed. I missed Tony's stream the past couple of days because I've had interviews early in the morning, and so I totally missed it. I think Ken's got a good point. I think a lot of that equipment, whether it exists or not, I don't know enough about farming to know. So I'm not a farmer. I'm a gamer. But I think that's one thing that comes up as a subject time and time again, right? That giants, specifically giants, not the modding community, but giants, focuses on the latest and greatest stuff. So most of the equipment we have in the game, not all, but most, was made, designed, built within the past, what, 20 years? And you get the equipment that's 40 or 50 years older, and they just don't include it in the game. And there's so much really cool old equipment that I think we're not getting. And you know, if you try to do an old iron series and you start searching Mod Hub or whatever for old iron type equipment made, even something like made in the 80s or 90s or 70s, right? It's like a crapshoot. And you end up spending 90% of your time on like King mods, downloading stuff done from share mods or whatever, like where someone hacked something together and you're afraid that it's going to destroy your computer because it might have a virus in it. Like, that sucks. Because that equipment isn't in the game. I mean, even this New Holland tractor, this isn't a modern one. This isn't on Mod Hub. It's off of some third-party site somewhere. Why is there kind of a stigma of not including the older equipment into the game? I don't like that. I think that's a miss. And I understand that it might be money driven. But don't get me wrong, I'm not dumb. Giants can't make money off of putting tractors or harvesters in the game that were made 40 or 50 years ago, because the brands that are paying them to put their tractors in the game don't want us to put that stuff in the game because it's old. They don't care about that. They want to be able to sell the latest and greatest. I get that. But yeah, like Keith said, I also have a couple hundred hours of time where I've spent scouring the internet for older equipment, downloading it, realizing that half of the stuff doesn't work, and that I have to fix stuff just to be able to use it. And so I'm very picky and choosy about the stuff that I choose to work on or the stuff that I choose to fix, just because it takes time. We talked about this months ago, but as soon as I finish my Middleburg series, we're going to be going to the 80s series that I've, as Keith said, spent a lot of time customizing, fixing, tweaking equipment that's all built in the 80s to keep that series kind of period centric, right? And so I've spent so much time getting that series ready and doing research on when stuff was made and built and created, blah blah blah, blah, that I can't. But it's been over a year since I actually like finished the map, so can't let that one go. That one's gonna be next. But you end up spending a lot of time fixing, editing, changing, getting equipment to work the way it should, just because it matches a theme that I want to go with. But that's the way it is. That's how it goes. It's fun though. Ken's been busy talking. What's he saying? There's plenty of equipment made just 40 years ago. They're probably, yeah, totally. If you go back 70 years, it's an entire different series. All good stuff. But you go back 100 years and you're just steam engines. Yeah. There was a steam engine in the game for a little bit. There was a steam engine with a pull behind harvester that had like like the harvester's head went out to the side of it. Looked pretty cool, but I never got into using it. I remember seeing it a few times. You know, I've never actually counted how many things I've edited. It's got to be in that same range. of items that I've actually edited to use. With this series, I'm trying as much as I can not to edit stuff, but the South American modders who build the South American stuff, they almost never push it to mod hub, so it doesn't kind of meet the same quality and completeness requirements. Let's just say it that way. That's a nice way of saying it. So I end up having to, if I find something that I really want to use, I have to do stuff to it. Like this tractor, it's way too loud. It does not need to be this loud. So I end up zooming out really far so I don't have to listen to it. And I think I actually edited this tractor to turn the sound down. That's it. We are super close. Oh, we completed it. I didn't get the notification in the yeah, I know, Ken. I didn't get the notification, but I did complete this contract, so I'm done. We're done. I'm not gonna finish. I'm gonna be a bad farmer today and say no, I'm not actually gonna complete all of it. I'm not gonna try to bother, and I'm just gonna do this. So yes, Model Houseman, I did try it out a little bit on a different save, on the same save or my testing map, which is just No Man's, working on the mod. So it is on there. I did see that. I think it's going to give me some of the information I need. I just have to figure out how to incorporate it the best way I can. And I'm not sure how to do that yet. So we'll see. We'll see. But yes, thank you for sending that over. All right, so we're going to come over here and we're going to dump our tractor, or we're going to dump this cultivator thing. And I have a couple fertilizing contracts that I grabbed. Let me look and see if I can do any of those fertilizing contracts while we're kind of on our way back to our farm. Because the fertilizing contracts are pretty quick. Okay, let's drop that off. Let's check. 15, 18, and 25. And give me flashing numbers. 25 is actually right outside our farm, so we are going to go bring our fertilizing unit to go down that way. 15 and 18. Where are those? The numbers in this map are kind of all over the place, so you kind of have to search for stuff. We already did 15 and 18 once, so we're not going to do those right now. Tony, welcome in, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Sorry, I haven't been able to attend your streams the past couple days. I've been having early morning interviews, which conflict with my stream watching time. Miffy. Keith just called you Miffy. That's a good one. All right, and we're off. So as we drive, we can check our stats real quick. I think we're actually getting close to one of our limits for, or the numbers for contracts. Missions completed. We're at 18. I don't remember what our number was, but it was somewhere in the 20s. It was 20, 25, something like that. As soon as I get to that, whatever that number is, we have to look it up. We wrote it down somewhere. I don't have it in front of me. But as soon as we get to that number, we can start using workers. Even though we don't have an extra tractor for those workers to be using yet. But it does mean we can start using workers soon, which should be fun. Let's get our first worker going. Either for contracts or for helping us with our own work. Does anyone remember? I didn't write it down, or it's written down somewhere, notepad somewhere. But what our number was, like, was it 20 we had to get to for our first worker, or was it 25? I'm pretty sure it was either 20 or 25 contracts completed. And if we did spend time this stream actually doing all of our fertilizing contracts, we could probably get there, but I don't know if we'll do that. Episode 2 has the notes in it. Okay, thank you. Are you sure it wasn't 19? No, I'm pretty sure. Might have been 10 the first time we wrote it. I don't have the link shared, but on my website, and I think it's in the video description, the link to the website that should have some of it, with the rules or guidelines or whatever, with how many things you need for each level. Some of it is already there. The next thing I'm going to do with the mod is I'm going to actually add all that stuff into the help menu in the game, so you can kind of refer to it even if you're on console and know, you know, what those numbers are to try to reach your goals. So console players might only get a help menu edition, whereas full players will actually get a lot more information. And the grass is looking good. I actually did some tweaks to the grass over last week, and solidified it and make sure that the grass is consistent with all its growth stages and stuff. Look at this. I think it's looking awesome. Ooh, what is this? Oh, that's interesting. You guys see that? How it has like a little bit of a pink tinge to it when you're far away, but then when you get close, it's orange. That's I don't know. Is that right? I mean, these things don't have, like, the distance color for this crop is a little off. It should be orange and not green. Have I figured out how to make a checklist script? I'm not sure what you're talking about, like, for that. I did figure out how to make a mod in game that has like a display menu that we can use, like the time-saving stock check. I'm using this one as a basis. I did figure out how to get here, and the current one I have has the title. It has columns. It has, and I'm starting to figure out how to get the data into those columns, and render like progress bars. So I'm gonna it's just gonna be simple initially, showing you progress bars for what stage you are for each individual section. But how things get positioned and stuff like that in that menu is a little tricky. So, but it'll work a little bit like a checklist, but it's not going to work like a checklist where you have checkboxes. It'll just actually show you what you've gotten done so far, what stage you're at for where you're at, basically. So I'm working on that. I was working on that right before the stream. It's a very, very time-consuming process. Because, like, when you're developing for the internet, right, for a web page, the way it works is you're, like, writing your HTML code or whatever, and then you just hit refresh on your browser. And it shows you the changes you just made. But when you're building a mod for the game, that makes UI in the game, you can't just refresh the game. You actually have to exit completely out of the game and then go completely back into the game to see your changes. So I'm like literally quitting out of the game, going back in over and over and over, and you know, so I have to be on a map that the work plan mod. Ooh, yeah, it could. I'm just using, I mean, I tend to learn, and this is how I've learned all of my modding. I've never taken a course on modding. I've never taken watched any how-tos on modding. I learn by, because I'm a software engineer, I can learn very easily just by looking at other people's stuff. So I'll download a mod and I'll open it up and I'll unzip it and I'll be like, oh, they're making a checkbox. Or they're rendering a graphic to the page, and this is how I can render it. Or they're opening a menu that you have input fields that you have to type into, like the work plan mod, right? And then I try to see how they do it, and I dig through the code and I figure it out. And then I try to do it myself, and and build on it. And that's, you know, that's how a lot of developers work. That's how most development happens. That's how a lot of people learn. That's just how I do it. I'm sure there's other ways. If Giants have better documentation, I could potentially learn from them. And, you know, like even like that book, like I actually bought that book that someone released recently, which was, I don't know if it was written in the best way. Not the type of book that I would read, I should say. It wasn't that great. Mainly because it was written very much like, oh, here, if you want to do this very, very specific thing, these are your steps. I'm fertilizing this field because it is grass. But it's not showing up in the UI because, oh, you know why? I know why. First of all, let's go accept our contract. So we finishes this contract. Good job for me. 71 grand. Booyah. $6,400 for that other one. We have a bunch of cultivating contracts we can do. We're not going to do plowing, not with 100 horsepower. Even though they are pretty 18, 20K. But I mean, 6 hectares, like... But I think what we need to do is we need to buy, which we didn't do yet. So this is our plot of land. We need to do this, and we need to purchase soil information. Now we have enough money for that. So now we got our soil information, and now we can see the level of fertilization in the bottom window. Now, because it's grass, it's not going to need too much fertilization. So this should be easy. But yeah, if you guys have any like mods that you've seen that have good like UI or good ideas for like the UI being like the user interface, like how it works, that you think that I could potentially learn from, I'm all ears and love for the suggestions. As Model Husband kind of linked to it, mentioned it a little bit earlier, but he sent me a link to a mod over the week, and to a mod that helps track your total distance driven. And so I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate a total distance driven measurement into the scoring that we're using for unlocking skills. I would love to be able to do that. Like his suggestion, I believe, was to have auto drive be unlocked either globally or on a per vehicle basis based on the total number of miles that you've driven. And the only way to do that is to be able to track that number. And so I haven't dug into the mod yet, but I will. And that should give me what the information I need to be able to track that number. And then I can show it in the UI once I figure out how to show things in the UI, which I haven't figured out yet. Well, yeah, I haven't really figured it out yet. I'll get there. I'm pretty sure it's something simple. Oh, the other thing I did, and this is actually a really cool thing. I'll show this to you guys. This is actually pretty awesome. So by default, and oh, we have to go back to fertilizing. I'm going to get out of the tractor for a minute. Okay. So here we have the grass, second level grass. By default, this map, like many maps, doesn't have anything in it. When you go to landscaping, you go to plants, it doesn't have very much stuff in it. And so what I've done is I have a mod that I'm working on that is more of a prefab than a mod, but it gives you the ability to paint in all of the stuff that you can paint in. Like this thing right here is forest bush. And where is it? This little patch of grass right here is forest grass. It's an old thing from FS19, but what I've done is, and I'll spend a little bit of money, I've created paintbrushes for it. So I can paint that in to maintain the look and feel of the map should I want to. I've also given the ability to paint in meadow, grass, at all 3 lengths. So let's say I'm on this map and I want, next time I mow, I want this grass, I want to be able to cut this grass. So I'm going to come in here and do like grass middle, because grass middle is mowable, or grass tall. I'm going to come in here and I can paint grass middle so that next time I mow this, it'll actually mow it. Grass short doesn't work because grass short, you can't mow grass short. It's just, it doesn't work that way. So I went through and you kind of saw it there, but I added a bunch of brushes, which is cool. I haven't done that before really, but I made it into a mod. So we've got like sticks and ferns and all kinds of other landscaping stuff. But as you can see, CSS plan is not supported on this map. The reason is that the foliage layer that is needed to paint in mushrooms has to be added in the map itself, like in the hard, like inside the i3D file. So my mod doesn't necessarily work as a mod because you can't just add foliage layers willy-nilly in a mod. The only mod that ever has been able to do that successfully is actually the premium DLC. One of the features of the premium DLC is that it adds red beets, parsnips, and carrots to any map that you enable the DLC in. And one of the ways that a foliage layer or a crop gets added to a map, one of the pieces is the foliage layer, and that foliage layer has to be in your map code. So Giants has some kind of magic somewhere in that DLC that makes it so that you can add foliage layers dynamically. But because it's locked behind a DLC and there's no documentation on how they did it, I don't know how they did it, but it would make doing like this mod for paintable textures really, really useful, because then you could add that foliage layer as part of the mod, and then you'd be able to paint anything on any map. Or even more advanced topics, like one that I've actually already have a mod that's 90% of the way done, just missing that one piece that we just talked about, to be able to add a crop to a map. So let's say something like flax, right? Flax is only on a few maps. It was on Edgewater first, I think, into FS22, but flax is a crop that I think would be cool to add on any map. And I should be able to have a mod, and I can just check a mod and say, hey, I want flax. And by adding that, clicking that mod, you'd get, oh, I'm out of fertilizer. So no more fertilizing today. We'll go back up and do the fertilizing later. By clicking that checkbox for that mod, it would actually add the crop and the growth calendar and the bales and all of the stuff that you need. I have everything working except for the part where you're adding a foliage layer to the map. And that's the part that it's kind of like the Giants magic that I can't figure out how to do. But I think it would be awesome to be able to kind of pick and choose which crops you add to your map and not be limited to what the map has, right? Like, why can't I go into and play this map? Like, this map has this crop. Here's an example, right? These are pinto beans. Why can't I add pinto beans on another map? Why not? Like, why can't I have a pinto bean mod that lets me add pinto beans on any map? Right? Why not? I think you should be able to, and so I'm trying hard to figure that out, but I haven't been able to figure it out yet. It's on my list. It's just not picking up the grass very well. Here we go. So now we're going to pick up the grass that we mowed last time. It's a little bit hard to see just because the grass has grown since we mowed it. But we're going to go ahead and pick up all this grass, get it into our silo, And then we're going to figure out how much grass we actually picked up, because our silo is getting pretty full. Wally should make a pizza plant. Yes. Well, I think the one thing with the crops and stuff like that is there's so many, like a lot of modders, and I'm sorry, a lot of map makers will add a crop to a map. And I think one of the biggest downsides that I see, this is just my preference, is that based on, like, I'm gonna turn the tractor down, it's making me angry. Based on like what we expect as a player in FS22 at this point, we kind of expect to be able to have production chains for everything. Like, we want to be able to have production. If we have a crop, we want to be able to put it into a production of some kind and be able to produce stuff with it, right? That we kind of expect that at this point, because that's what Giants has sold us in some ways, right? And so if you put a crop on a map and then you don't add the proper productions that go with that thing, then you're kind of like, I don't know, I feel like you're not giving the player the full experience for that new crop, whatever that new crop is. Right? Like, it's like, oh, great, you added millet. Okay, what are you going to use millet for? Nothing. Like, or like you add somebody, or you see maps that have, like, you know, alfalfa and clover, and then they have alfalfa and clover bales, and they have like specialized bales and specialized things and blah 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 blah. But then the only thing you can do with those bales or those pieces of whatever, the only thing you can do with them is sell it. Like, okay, that's such a waste of time. Like, why are you adding all this cool stuff, but then you can't actually do anything with it? Like, it's just a crop. I want to be able to do something with my crops. You add coffee to a map, there better be a coffee roasting production. Otherwise, what's the point in adding that crop to your map? Exactly, Ken. Like, there's so much cool stuff. So many more avenues with cool things we could be doing in this game. Should modders and map makers take the time to do it. That's actually one of the reasons I like this map. Is you have this, I don't know if we still have it. We can show it here. But if you look in here, there's a bunch of extra stuff, right? We have millet, pinto beans, onion, garlic, carrot. And then, but there's coffee on this map, but you can also do roasted coffee. So there's both coffee beans and roasted coffee. And there's a coffee roaster somewhere on the map. There's tilapia on the map. But to get the tilapia, you have to provide banana and orange to the tambaki fish plant, right? Like they actually took the time. And you make molasses. You make like they're using the extra crops that are on this map for the most part in productions, which I think it should be the standard, right? If you add a crop to a map, there better be at least one production that uses that crop. Otherwise, why the hell did you add that crop? Because yes, it's farming game, and yes, productions are not necessarily farming. I get that. But we as players have come to expect fish with onion and some shallots. Nice tomato sauce. Yes, that could be good. I miss onions. My doctor told me I'm not supposed to eat onions because of something, and I miss having onions. All right, let's go here. Don't slow down, and then empty. Slow down a little bit on the empty, and then whoops. We'll run into a tree. This tree is totally in the way, but I don't have a chainsaw to get it. Plus, I can't do anything with it, even if I cut it down. Like, if I cut it down, it's just going to be there. I would have to skill up my lumber. And then let's dump the rest of it in the middle here. And we are done with the grass. Now all we have to do is compact it. And we're good to go. Damn doctors. I know. Taking all the fun. Trying to keep me healthy is all those doctors are doing. Who said I wanted to be healthy? Damn it. So I don't know if you guys have seen this mod. This is like my new favorite find of a mod. Which is this. Right? Which is this silo compacting thing. And there, you can't lift it. It's always down. It's specifically for silo compacting. Mainly because, and I think I realized why it works so well. Is it's basically a frame towing a bunch of tires. Like, it's literally what it is. It's a frame towing a bunch of tires. But the reason it works so well for silo compaction is silo compaction, the compaction rate in the game engine is based off of how many tires you have in contact with the surface and the weight of said tires. So I think, and I haven't looked at it, I can confirm, but I think in the code for this, it's really just 10 tires that are all heavy. And that's the reason why it works really well for compacting. You see that? I'm already at 100%. Like, it took me a couple seconds and I'm at 100% compaction. Granted, I was already at 100% before I added those two loads, so I didn't add too much. But, yeah. Isn't that cool? Yep, they probably have water in them, and so they're designed to be heavy. So you have both weight and multiple tires. But basically, I just, in one pass, essentially, I compacted that silo. We're going to leave this here for a minute, and I'm going to go pick up my bucket. Because I do have a little bit of spillover. That's not what I wanted to do. I was hoping I'd just push it, but I guess not. All right, let's go get our bucket and front end loader and clean up the spillover so we can get that thing carpeted and figure out how many liters we actually have. We have a nice crop here that would be possible to harvest. Should we have a harvester? We actually kind of have enough money to buy a harvester, which might be an idea. I don't know. Do you guys, what do you think? We should buy a harvester this time? Buy a little harvester and we have a trailer. It doesn't hold very much, but we have a trailer. Do I have the gleaner? I do not have the gleaner on this save. Since we're at 100 horsepower limit, this is really our only option, right? Which is the this little Massey Ferguson. But then if we get up to 150, like the under 200 range, we have like all of these New Hollands, which was the goal, is to get one of these New Hollands. And if you can go up to the 80s, like the 80s, the 6 series, 86, 96, like the 96 series, 86, there's a bunch of them that are around the right horsepower. So we are trying to limit to the horsepower rating that we're currently at, which is 100 horsepower. Or 125 actually, because we did get that upgrade. Because we did run it dry last time. Oh yeah, that's right. We ran it dry last time and I proved to you how you can when you run it dry, why does that tree look weird? Okay. When you run it dry, how to actually get free gas from the game. I remember that now. Cruising. 704. Driving through this guy's pinto bean crop because I don't care. Oh. Nope, no, oh. Oh, that's right. We still have that really stupid mower. Alright, we're going to have to do... Can it work from here? Yeah. We should be able to do this first person, right? I'm just going to push. Yes, with these bucket things is like I want to be able to hear the scraping noise of the bucket scraping on the pavement. I feel like I'm missing that. Oh, I'm not actually picking it up. It's really hard to see like if your bucket's down or not until you actually get stuff in it. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, the gleaners are really cool. I have a couple other gleaners. I'm saving the gleaners for if I ever get to it. I had an idea for an American equipment, an Alice Chalmers kind of series. Playing on one of the American maps and using all Alice Chalmers stuff. And since the gleaners buy Alice Chalmers, that was the idea. And so I think I have like 3 or 4 gleaners and 5 or 6 Alice Chalmers tractors. But that's the extent of my knowledge. Just that I have them. That's all I know. Go on, pick it all up. What? No. I'm a mess. Alright. Can't do this anymore. Can't see what I'm doing. Nope. Oh, I'm super good at this, huh? This is riveting television, watching me trying to use a front end loader. Yeah, I could do that, but I'm trying to gain my skills at lifting this, even though I'm not... Whoops. Based on our skilling tree, I'm not actually gaining skills by picking this up, which is the goal eventually, is to actually say, oh, I filled up a bucket of chaff. I should add to my total of stuff that I've picked up from the ground with the bucket. So I do want to do that eventually and add those numbers to our totals. But that's more of the mod. Like I picked up what, 6, 7 bucketfuls here. Can't see. Well, this side's not too bad. Hopefully. Camera. And every time I drive in here, I'm like messing up my work. See how I keep pushing more out? Yeah, this is like a losing battle. Oh. Just gonna get most of it, call it a day. No, that's not what I want to do. Ah! Can't I hire Tony to do this for me? Yeah, I know. I do too. But this is, we're back to basics here. That's the idea. I think that's what I need to do, is I need to push it in from the outside. Can I do it? 2 more times. Okay, that's what I should have done in the beginning. Wow, I'm learning. Alright, I'm going to give up in a second. The ground's not even level here. So I place this bunker in the woods. I don't know if I'm going to get this little piece here. I'm going to try. Nope. Alright, let's see if I can pull the silage thing with... Let's open my menu. See if I can pull it without taking the weight off. That would be cool. Oh, I can. Look at that. Fancy pants. Do it without taking anything off. Alright, so as we get in here, we'll see how good this bunker is. 99%! Okay. I'm gonna have to take a run at it. Oh, I'm at 100. Carpet it. Alright, we got out. I didn't think I was going to do it. I thought I was going to be stuck there forever. Lowering the bucket should help. I think that's what I did, and I think the lowering the bucket helped. To change my gravity, I guess? My center of gravity? Or something like that? I don't know. Physics, not my strong suit. All right. Now what to do, folks? We got 7:15. We got 45 minutes. We have 2 fertilizing contracts we can complete. We could go and sell some more stuff, some more lime, and do some more bucket scooping. But honestly, I think I've had enough bucket scooping for right now. See, a sunflower contract would be great, because then you could also get the straw, which we could pick up with our loading wagon and sell, but that's just a lot of work. And until I can make silage out of the straw, I don't want to do it. So let's back that thing up here. Down. Let's go back and get... Oh, let's see if there's any spraying contracts. While we're here. I haven't looked, actually. Sowing, plowing, harvesting, cultivating. Let's go do these 2 fertilizing contracts and figure out what's next. So we gotta go to our fertilizer spreader and then go buy some more fertilizer. So how's everyone doing? How's everyone, quote unquote, enjoying the new DLC? That's the extent of that conversation. Let's just leave it right there. Oh, we didn't check the leaders. We have to check the leaders. Let's check. We didn't check to see how much grass we got. So in here we have fermenting silage. It doesn't tell me how much. Shouldn't it? Why is it not telling me? Do I need to be in my tractor? Maybe I need to be in the tractor to see the fill level. Or I need like a HUD thing or a mod to show the bunker fill level. I don't know. I don't use bunkers very often, so... Yeah, it sees fermenting silage 0%, but it doesn't say how much is there. I guess I'm going to go looking for mods then. Alright. Back up to the store. Let's get more fertilizer. I don't know. Maybe I broke it. Maybe the info target for that mod that I'm using, which is the old bunker silo, doesn't work. I don't know. Give me a million things. I don't care enough. Does it? Oh, I mean, enhanced vehicle. Oh, enhanced vehicle HUD. I mean, I'm using enhanced vehicle, but it doesn't show me the that's for the vehicle. I'm wondering how much is in that bunker. And I think that here you're supposed to get it. What? This one? Additional settings. The trailer HUD's there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a different mod. Mod 47 that I don't have. I don't know. Whatever. It's okay. I don't mind. I love this wood area. I can't wait to use it. Yeah, bunker HUD mod. That's right. The problem with a lot of those quote unquote HUD mods is actually I kind of like to have my quote unquote HUD like relatively clean. Like up at the top right, you see the fuel one and the damage and painting. I like that. That's a clean look. But like some of these things, like what is it, the one that I think Bruce uses sometimes, the timber trailer info HUD mod, it has this big like gray box on the screen. It looks just not, it doesn't look like the same as everything else in the game. It doesn't fit. And as a UI expert, that kind of bothers me. Like, I just wanted to show up in the info panel. Like, why can't you just show me that in the info panel like everything else in the game? Why does it have to be like something special? Show it to me in the F1 menu. Show it to me in the regular info panel. But don't put an extra thing that's always on my screen all the time. That's dumb. Yeah, silo fill level, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure there's something. I'll find it. If you guys have a suggestion for the right mod that I'm looking for, which is basically just telling me how much I need to put there, feel free to drop it in a link in the Discord, or a link to a mod, or even just the name of the right mod that I'm looking for. But for now, we're going to go... Oh, we have to buy fertilizer. So really big bags of seeds, fertilizer. This is the best deal for fertilizer ever. Let's fill it up and head over and get our fields fertilized. I can't wait to actually put Model Houseman, that mod that shows you like the total amount of distance driven. I can't wait to put that in this save and see how much I've driven in this tractor. Because I'm using a single tractor for everything right now, and so I wonder how much it's been, how much I've used it, how much I've driven. Especially with all like the fertilizing and spraying contracts that I've been doing. Like, I'm curious. How much have I driven? And also, like, when I was driving edge to edge on the map to deliver lime, like, that's had to have added a good number of miles or kilometers or whatever to the total distance. So I can't wait to see that. The goal really is to get a lot of those kind of stats in our survival mod and our survival skills menu, and so that's going to be my goal for the next week. So hopefully before we stream next time, I'm hoping to get something of substance into our survival skills mod, and that's going to be kind of my goal. As far as other goals, we actually do have an edited video. The next video for... Wait, is this the field I'm supposed to go to? No, it's the next one. Yeah, next one. I do have an edited video for Calmlands, so we do have another Calmlands video coming out soon, which is pretty great. On the 4X, you're delivering wood chips and averaging 89 miles in a 30-minute time span. Wow, that's a lot. So I assume that means that I'm putting in a ton of mileage. I mean, it's not a 4X map, but I am driving around this map quite a bit. This map just looks so awesome. All right, let's get our field HUD up so we can see how we're doing. Get this fertilizing done. I've been also trying to I'm not racking my brain, but I've been trying to think about what other kind of skills that we haven't added yet should we be adding, right? So there's so many more things that you kind of just naturally do in the game, and you just kind of you're awesome from the beginning. And what else can we add? I haven't been able to think of anything, but in all honesty, just to be frank, I haven't actually spent any time thinking about it. I've had a dozen interviews in the past week since the last time we streamed, and all of my focus has gone into preparing for those interviews and then stressing about the fact that they're not calling me back. do like that this map actually also includes a few custom textures. Like this is soybeans, but this is a weird texture for soybeans, doesn't it? Right? Am I right? Weird texture for soybeans. This is a soybean field. I like that they took the time to actually add their own custom. Like this is a carrot field, which is not the base game carrots, because this map came out before premium. Yeah, exactly, Ken. So I'm doing my best to stay positive, even if they're not calling me back. That every interview I'm doing is just a step in the right direction for the next interview. For the interview for the right job, you know. And every rejection is not a rejection. It's, a sign that wasn't the right place for me. Whether I decided it or they decided it. And I've actually rejected a few companies too that wanted me to do something that I wasn't equipped for or not ready for. Companies undercutting me for what I want to make. Like, oh, we need someone to do this, and we want you to be a contractor, so we're not going to give you benefits. And we're going to pay you half as much as you normally get, but do you want the job? Because we need to hire someone right now. No. Trying to look for that thing that's right for me and my family, and something that I can enjoy. Yeah, they're good practice. Getting lots of practice lately. How is that contract? Are we actually executing on this contract correctly? Oh, look, it's 66%, and I've only done a headland. I don't understand how they do the math here. Like, this is not right. I have not done 67%, 69% of this field. Like, that math is just garbage. Seriously, look at the map. You look at the map. Or this map. Which one do we need to look at? I don't know. I can't see the fertilizing state there, so I have to see it here. But I'm not seeing it here. So, but I mean, even so, like, we look at the map. Like, that's not 69% of the field. One headland? Come on. Giants. That's not correct. At all. There's no way that's 69% of the field. Oh, on another positive note, I got my monitor back. So I don't know if you guys remember, I have two monitors, like one on top of the other. So I have one like this, one like that. The last company I worked for bought for me, and one of them died. And I sent it back to the company that made it, and it took them like a month and a half to fix it, but they sent it back to me and it came in today. I haven't even opened the box yet. So I finally got my second monitor back, which is a relief. Because doing software development is much easier when you have two monitors. %81 completed. Okay. If you say so. Oh, let's speed up the time, considering we have the stuff we wanted to get done today done. And then the other one I wanted to look at was those cultivating contracts. Because I don't really mind the cultivating, it just takes time. Field 6 and Field 9, those are the two expensive ones. And at 10 meters, I can probably do those pretty quickly. So field 6 and field 9. Where's field 6? Field 6 is down south. Oh, that's huge. I don't want to cultivate that. I might. Field 9. Actually, field 6 and field 9 are right next to each other. So I'm just, like, doing that whole corner down there. Let's do that. Because I don't have anything else to do on my own land. I'm waiting for the grass to thing. I could deliver some more lime, but I don't really feel like it. I want to get more bigger loads. I would like to buy a big rig and start delivering lime with a big rig of some kind. But right now I'm limited by horsepower. That's actually a good question for you guys. What do you guys think? Should the horsepower limitation, which is one of the things that we're talking about in the survival series, should the horsepower limitation also apply to trucks or in harvesters, like bigger equipment? Because if we're looking at the horsepower limitation that we have, which is the 100 horsepower limit right now, or 125, if you look at trucks, I have like the ones built into the game, even the built-in ones. So your Mack truck here, like this is 425 to 500 horsepower, 425, 500, 500, 500. So none of the in-game trucks, I wouldn't be able to use any of them until year 5. So that's the question, is should the horsepower limitation also apply to trucks? Now, obviously, I have a bunch of mods in here. Like I have the D5754, which is a great truck. That one's 200 horsepower. The HPN, this is 177. This one's 280. That's a good one. 240. This is one of the ones I want to go to. This one's really great with all the beds and stuff. This is 156 to 280. The 156 one is really crappy. This one is the low end, is 210 horsepower. This is the truck I want to use. This one's really cool looking. Like using it like this, that's cool looking. It's got some great colors, but it's 210 horsepower, which means I wouldn't be able to use it until like midway through year 2. So that's the question. I could use a Unimog too. I could. I don't know how prevalent Unimogs are in Brazil though. Unimog seems like a more of a European thing. Collect field 18. I still have to do field 15, which I believe is that way. That way. Yeah, Unimog's German. So I again just, and this is actually the question from earlier, but I tend, when I play these kind of playthroughs, I usually like to do things that are thematic. So I'm trying to restrict myself to vehicles that are South American, being that this is a South American map. So probably wouldn't go with a Unimog. But yours is true, they are big all over the world. But I want to go with one of those other big vehicles, trucks that we showed you. So most of them I could get year 2. I can't get any of them right now though. Nothing within the 125 limit, which is a bummer. Because even, that's the other thing, is like, even if I got one that met the horsepower requirements, it's not going to be able to actually pull any kind of substantial load. And that's what I really want the truck for, is to deliver, rock and lime. And as Ken has already done the work for, a 200 horsepower truck going up a hill, and this map has plenty of hills that are very similar to Calmlands. There aren't very many 200 horsepower trucks that could actually go up a hill like that. So with a full load, but even then I'm going year 2 and I'm still like the 3rd month. So do I fast forward through the next couple of months just doing contracts here and there just so I can get to year 2 and actually be 200 horsepower? Or do we separate the horsepower limit between trucks and cars? Maybe it's 200 horsepower for trucks or whatever. I don't care. We can always do whatever we want, right? Maybe the goal is to start small with a pickup truck and move up, you know? The JCB dump truck was probably one of the best. You're right. And fast. That thing is super fast. So driving edge to edge on the map, on this map, with the JCB dump truck at 200 horsepower would be great. It's only 9,000 liters, but you could always tow another trailer behind it. It would be perfect for this map. With that said, that's also 200 horsepower, and we're currently limited at 100, so how do we get there? I don't know. But I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to take the time and, you know, build up. That's the whole goal of this, is just to not, you know, just jump right into all that crazy stuff, but build our way up. So we'll get there. Don't forget to drop down and hit that like button, folks. Thanks for everyone being here. We have quite a few people here tonight. Thank you very much. And it's going good. And if we haven't, I haven't checked the numbers recently, but I do believe I'm getting super close to that 500 subs limit. 20 away, I think, somewhere around there, which is pretty exciting. Get some monetization on the books. This field is so weird. It's one of the things I really like about this map, is all of these like single farmland, but split up into multiple fields that happen to be separated by a road. I don't know why I like it so much, but I do. I love it. I think it just feels natural. It feels like it matches the map too. Like, it kind of feels like, I don't know whether it is or not, but it feels like a South America thing. 489. Wow, that's super close. This is a production building, by the way. Custom production. I don't know what it does, though. Grain mill or something? I haven't figured it out yet. $125. Ooh. That's not bad. A gas dump truck. That's like the kind of Russian brands. I wouldn't mind using a Russian brand. Not really fitting, but, you know, whatever. I mean, the cultivator was Russian too, so. Yeah, so many of those, I've tested some of them, and so many of them are just garbage. Or they're like, have been major bugs, or like they fill your log with errors, and Keith knows how I feel about that. Can't stand it. I've actually stopped using mods because they fill up my log with errors, and it bothers me so much because number one, it bothers me that there's errors in the log, and B, I have to like restrain myself from going in and just fixing them. Fixing the errors. Because it drives me that much nuts that I just wouldn't be able to use it. TLX, I saw that model hospital you put in there. The TLX did good with the dump truck add-ons and stuff like that. That's not bad. That is a truck. It does hold stuff and it does go pretty fast. Yeah. I could use I don't remember what the horsepower ratings were on Ridiculous Dominic's MJ. We could potentially use that as well. I haven't looked. There's the other one that's here, which is down here, cars. I have a couple of them here. I have the F350 for some reason. This one is here, but it's a 350 horsepower. I don't know why I have the Mavericks in here. I don't know. There's also this one, the D20. This is 200 horsepower though. It does have a bed. I don't know if it carries stuff in the bed, but it does have one. Those are all like Brazilian trucks. They would meet my Brazilian thematic requirement. But I've used this one a lot. Like this one I actually tested. So my goal is actually to use this as this Mineiros automatic, that one as like my big rig, I guess. I want to use this as my grain hauler, and it has beds that you go with it. And then one of these dump trucks, probably this one right here, which is also it's a Kamaz or something like that style dump truck, but it's a dump truck. And I think it looks cool. That's the goal. I'm gonna get to that and eventually start hauling all of that stone at that stone quarry, being filled up with a auger of some kind, and setting up an auto drive course to deliver stone from my pile of stones that I have, either within this stone quarry here, or from the stones that I have in the plot of land we bought. That's the goal, is to get there. That's where we're gonna go, hopefully. But again, that one right there is how many? The dump truck. This thing is 240 horsepower at the low end. So we're still second year before we can even think about getting that one. There we go. And the other benefit is we do have the enhanced contracts. Is that what it's called? I don't even remember what it's called. The enhanced contracts mod on here, so we are getting a little bit of a discount for buying new land with every one of these contracts we complete, which is great. So we're going to do the cultivating contracts. We're going to accept field 6 and field 9. We'll get them started tonight, and then I'll go back and I'll finish them off stream, and then we'll probably go into the next day for the next stream. And hopefully we can get some information and see where we are at with the mod that I'm in the middle of making by next stream. I'm really hoping that's going to be my like personal goal. I got to get out of my head and stop spending my days surfing LinkedIn. Job hunting. And actually do something. Get something done. It's been tough. Very tough mentally. Yeah, the 1518 is the one that I usually go with. I've used that on other... Whoops. Hello, pickup truck. By the way, this map has a couple of really awesome trucks. Like that's a Hilux. But I don't know if that Hilux exists on ModHub. And like, here's a slammed Hilux with tons of speakers in the back. Like, where is that on ModHub? I want that. And this is a little Ford whatever the heck. Like, where is that on ModHub? Those are the ones I want. That's right. Ken, you still have your spreadsheet for those. I look at these fields and I'm like, why can't I be the one harvesting them? Why can't you let me harvest it? I think that one's already harvested. Is it? I think that one's already harvested. I have to check now. Yeah, that's harvested. That was wheat. Again, custom crop textures. This map has plenty of them. And a speed camera that's not actually set up. Effective use of palm trees. And then that is a really good effective use of an oversized tree. Like that's just your regular everyday oak tree. And they just doubled or tripled the size. That's an effective use of those oversized trees. And like that huge tree, I don't even know what that is. I wonder if I could cut it down. There's another huge, super huge tree. The problem with those really big trees is if you try to cut them down with a chainsaw, even if you get a chainsaw that can actually, like a modded chainsaw that can cut really thick trunks, usually the collisions on it are all messed up, so that doesn't actually cut them properly. Oh, I'm being chased by a JCB again. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I'll fill up my fertilizer so I'm ready to go next time, and then I'm going to head over and do those, start doing that cultivating contract. It should give me something to do for the next couple of days. And then we'll go from there. The truck driving by on the street triggers the gate to open. That's actually kind of funny. It was waving at him. Yeah, totally. And this is actually one of those cool maps that does have the ability to flood the rice field if you want to actually do the realism stuff with rice, because rice is, you know, I think it's, I forget, is it harvested when it's wet or is it planted when it's wet? I forget. One of them, there's something to do with rice that actually has you flood the field. I forget when rice fields are supposed to be flooded. Why is this slowing down so much? But this map does have the ability to flood that field, which is pretty cool. What's going on here? Does this cultivator really weigh that much? Oh my gosh. The cultivator weighs 7 tons. Like the tractor is 7.3 tons, and this cultivator supposedly weighs 7 tons. See that in the bottom right, enhanced vehicle? If I disconnect, I'm 7.3 tons. I connect to the cultivator and it's... There's no way that weighs 7 tons. No way. Like maybe a ton at most. Maybe 2 tons. There's no way that this little flimsy thing weighs 7 tons. Yeah, this is not a chance. Oh, while I'm driving past the gas station, before I run out of fuel again, I should get fuel. I love the fact that this gas station actually has gas pumps that are fast, so I can kind of just do a drive-through. $24. We're getting close. It's up here on the left. No running dry today. Well, you can. I mean, the way we're setting it up, or the way I'm saying for this challenge, is you can only run it dry once per tractor. If you want to run it dry more than that, have fun. I'm not saying you can't. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. All right. So is this? I don't remember how the fields are, so I have to look at the map. So we're doing 6 and 9. Let's look at the maps. So 6. What does 6 include? Oh, it includes the stuff in front of me. So basically these two plots are what we're doing, including this little triangle over here. Let's do the triangle first. I think we fertilized this field a little while ago. Yeah, I don't think 7 tons is the right weight. Maybe I should fix it. I wonder if it would actually be easier to pull if I fixed it. Maybe. What is the units? You're talking about the cultivator, Ken? The cultivator is, let's look at it real quick. Cultivator, this is the BP10, and I'm assuming that says BP, but in Cyrillic. It's a BP10. It's on the BP pack mod. Something I got off of King Mods. I like it because it's 10 meters. And it actually works pretty well. And it contours the one other thing that this mod does that I like. I don't know if you can see it. Here, you can see it right here. Is, let's see if I back it up so the right tire is on this little mound. You can kind of see it. You see how it's slightly curved, right? It's hard to see, but it's very slightly curved. So they actually they set up their mod correctly to like contour with the land, which I think is important. Like the John Deere Batwing mower that I use all the time, I actually did all the work to make that mower properly contour to the land, as it should. Because the base game one that Black Sheep Modding didn't actually contour to the land. It just didn't work. So the one that I use does, because I wanted it to. And you get a lot of mods that are like this, that have hinges and have pivot points that don't contour to the land. They fold up, but they don't contour to the land the way they should, in my opinion. And it just matters just, you know, building your mod the right way, I guess. When you first build it. And see, with a 10-meter thing, like, I'm just, like, cruising through this. I think this could have a little bit more random movement in the things that are hanging down. There could be more random movement, but again, I'm trying my best to find mods that I don't have to edit. Yes, BP10. It's probably in Cyrillic somewhere. It's probably available. Who knows? It could actually be 7 tons. Doesn't sound right to me, but what do I know? I think it could be like, and it might be just like a translation issue. I would imagine that this could be 7,000 pounds. Sure. Totally. I could definitely assume this would be 7,000 pounds. But 7,000 pounds is not 7 tons. Metric tons. Maybe I'm just thinking of like a US ton versus a metric ton. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. I think I'm still thinking in pounds instead of what the game uses, which is metric tons, which might weigh differently. I don't know enough about it. Sure it does. But as I go into what looks to be like this entire corner, everything I can see right here is all stuff that I have to cultivate. So I'm going to kind of just churn my way through it, do one field at a time, and get through it, which will finish these 2 contracts off. And those 2 contracts are actually above 20. So yes, we're at 21 contracts. So I think we're either close to, or we just got our first skill up, which is going to allow us to use workers on these contracts. Now, I don't know if we talked about it last time, but are we allowing workers equals courseplay, or are we just saying that workers is our base game workers, and I'm going to have to unlock courseplay later on? I don't remember what we decided, but I will make a decision on that, make sure that it's kind of documented and posted, and then we can have the rules in front of us so we can, and I'll bring them into the game. So I'll put them in here in the help menu, which is here. I'll put them in the help menu so that we can have the rules in front of us and be able to refer to them, since it's hard to remember all the rules we're coming up with while I'm playing. So I'll try to get them into the game so we can see them in the game. So that'll be part of my goal for next week. But that's actually going to be it for this week. I've got a little bit of cultivating to do, and a lot of modding to do. So hopefully by next week we'll be able to see some of the results of that work, and we can continue on with our little bit of our survival skills challenge. I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping in the live stream and keeping the active with the comments and stuff like that. It means a lot to me. I know that you definitely don't have to do it, but it definitely means a lot to me as a streamer to have an active chat. It makes everything so much easier and so much more fun. So thank you very much. And hopefully we'll have some news by next week. Who knows? We'll see. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. I just realized the music's not there. It stopped. See, that's what I was missing this whole time, was the music. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.